After his startling blue eyes, the next unusual thing I noticed about Ace was the sparks. Everywhere he touched me, I felt little pleasurable pops of electricity. Dorothy Kennicott, the Alpha's doe.
Hey, today we are chatting with Annie Whipple, the author of the highly anticipated The Alpha's Doe. Thank you so much for joining us today, Annie.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, so let's get into it. How long have you been writing?
I have been writing since forever, I think. I remember writing my first real book at the age of, I think, 12 or something like that. For as long as I can remember.
That's amazing. So when did you decide, okay, I'm going to share this publicly?
It's actually a funny story. Like I said, I've always wanted to be an author. I didn't necessarily know I was going to get into the werewolf genre, although now I love what I do. But it actually started out as a dare from my college roommate sophomore year, where we were just staying up reading werewolf novels one night. During COVID, we had nothing else to do, so she dared me to... Well, we dared each other, really, to write a werewolf book and see who could get more reads. Okay. And then my book went viral, which I did not expect, but I'm so grateful for. And I kept writing it, and now it's my full-time job somehow, and I love it so much. I love the community I've built. I love my readers. It's a dream job, truly.
That's amazing. I love that. Because you've built such a strong community and your fans are so passionate, has there been like a compliment or a fan mail that you've received that's sort of like stuck with you over these years?
Oh my gosh, my fans say the nicest, sweetest things to me. I think the number one compliment I can get is that either I got them through a really hard time. I've gotten a lot of mothers reaching out to me saying I'm a new time mother and your books have just helped me so much. They've given me something to look forward to, which is the nicest thing ever. Or I've gotten, your books got me into reading, which as a reader is the nicest thing to hear. So things like that I really appreciate.
Oh, that's awesome. I think that's probably one of the coolest compliments. Like, oh, your book got me back into reading, like, or it's helped me get out of a reading slump. Like, that's so
absolutely
beautiful.
You know, those books have to be really engaging. When you're in a reading slump, you need something so engaging to get you back out of that. So it's such a nice compliment.
How have you? So, like, you've built, like I said, you built like this pretty massive community. How have you felt about like going outside of the writing platforms and building up an audience on other social media platforms? How has that been for you?
It's been a learning curve for me, for sure. I'm definitely not like a social media person in general. So I love social media, don't get me wrong. I can spend hours on TikTok. But I've never really had to be like a social media influencer or anything like that. So, jumping into this has been so educational, I guess. I've learned a lot. I've struggled too with what to post and how often to post and what's the most engaging. And, but truly, I just love connecting with people. I love reading comments. And that's part of the reason I started writing on Inkit was all of these, you can see comments, you can see how many readers you're getting. It's so engaging. So it's been really fun. I've really liked learning from my readers, really, from my followers, and building a fun platform, hopefully. I just post a lot of memes, honestly.
We love to see it, though. Let's be real.
Yeah.
So obviously, like, Kidnapped by My Mate has become sort of like I think I could call it a cult. It has a cult following, and it's become a pretty big deal. So does that seem to be the most popular book out of yours? Or I know that The Alpha's Doe was originally on Inkit. Does that seem to be doing well, or do you have other books that are? Which one would be the most fan favorite?
First of all, to hear that my book has a cult following is hilarious because that's so true. I've never thought about it that way, but that's a really fun way of putting it.
Yeah.
Followers, they're committed. They're committed, and I love it. Yes, Kidnapped by My Mate, Beautiful Belle and Alpha Grayson is definitely my most popular book. It's wild, really. And I'm really grateful for it. August 19th, The Alpha Stoll comes out, and I'm so excited for that book. It also was really popular. It got picked up on Inkit, and it's about Grayson's cousin, Ace. So, it takes place in high school. They're high schoolers, so they're a little more, I would say they're a little less mature than Grayson and Belle, and Grayson and Belle already aren't that mature, so, yeah, but they make some more stupid decisions, and I'm just really excited for people to read it and let me know what they think.
So, what was your initial inspiration for The Alpha Stoll? What made you decide, you know what, I'm going to tell Ace's story?
You know, I'm not sure. I started it so long ago. I think it was originally supposed to be a short story. It was called Sleeping Together, actually. So if you notice a lot of them like going to bed, that was the general premise. It was supposed to be like a human, and then she has a werewolf mate who sneaks into her room every night. That was the original storyline. And then it kind of unfolded and became more, and then I realized pretty quickly that Ace was related to Grayson because they're pretty similar. And I knew I just wanted to connect it to the Kidnapped by My Mate universe. So yeah.
So with the Alpha Stoll, like you mentioned that it's like an old, like it's been a while since you first created it. How long did it take you to write it? Like this before, like pre-edits, before we sent it off for editing, how long did it take you to write from beginning to end?
Oh my gosh, so long. It took me so unbelievably long, and I think my readers who have been following me since the beginning of the Alpha Stoll can vouch for me because it was such a journey. I think I started it 3 years ago. Like right after I finished Kidnapped by My Mate, I started it. And it's gone through probably 10 different drafts.
Of course.
So complicated. It got, because you know when you're writing something, and it's like I said, it started out as a short story, so it really wasn't supposed to go this far. And I'm so glad it did, but I had to change a lot to make it, you know, coincide with the rest of the story. So I had to go back, I had to change the beginning, and then it went through, I thought I had finished it, and then it went through another editor, like a professional editor that Galatea provided, and that was a really fun experience. I realized how much more it was missing, so we added even more, we changed even more, and we polished it, and I feel really good about how it's going to turn out once it's finally out to everybody. It will be different. There's all the same scenes that everybody loves, everybody knows, but they're going to be added. It's going to make more sense, thank goodness. It's going to be really exciting to see how people react to it.
That's awesome. So with the Alpha Stoll, is there a character that you found challenging to write? Like you mentioned that Ace is similar to Grayson, so was he a bit easier to write?
Actually, I would say that was a little bit more of a challenge, trying to differentiate the characters. I didn't want them to be the same. Right. And I knew that, like, Grayson's supposed to be the king of this supernatural world, right? So he's supposed to be, he's supposed to have his act together, basically. Whereas Ace is a high schooler who's just stepping into the role of Alpha, and he's, like I said, a little less mature. He's still learning. He's been keeping secrets from his mate his whole life, and that's really weighed on him, I think. So I think my biggest challenge was just not having the same characters. Like Ace's beta's name is Matic, and I really struggled with not making him Kyle. I wanted him to be the comedic relief the entire time, and I said, nope, he can't be. He's not Kyle. He's his own little character. So, yeah, I think that was interesting. But I think I did okay, making them all different characters. So it'll be fun to see them interact once they do in the books.
Yes. And how did you feel writing Dorothy?
Doe is a little sweetheart. She's also been lied to her whole life, and there's a lot that's missing. So sometimes it was a little infuriating to write her, because she's just so behind on everything, and she's just not catching up. She gets hints, because she doesn't know about the werewolf. She doesn't know that Ace is a werewolf, but there's hints everywhere, and she's not getting them for good reason. It's eventually revealed like what's really going on, but it was a little infuriating writing that, and not keeping her in the dark and seeing that character get hurt because of it. But at the same time, she's such a sweetheart. She just wants the best for everybody. She's just like a warm, cuddly little baker. That's amazing. So it was fun to write her.
I like that. I think it's kind of, this is the universe that you've created, and you know exactly what's going on behind the scenes, but you can't reveal it to the characters because they're the ones that are supposed to understand and learn, right? And so I think it's I don't know. I just think it's funny that you're like that you said it was kind of frustrating when she didn't get it, but she's not supposed to get it. I think that's something all writers can relate to.
Definitely. Yeah. It's and it was a challenge to make sure that the readers were getting it, even though the main character, because it's from Dorothy's point of view. So I was like, how do I communicate that what's really going on so the readers aren't left in the dark? And so that was a interesting little challenge for me.
Yeah, for sure. What inspired you to write? Or I guess you mentioned that it was kind of its own thing, and then you were like, oh, actually, I can connect this to, I can connect Ace and Grayson. What made you decide? What was the sort of deciding factor that you're like, they are cousins. They belong in the same world?
Well, first of all, they're both so grumpy. And
personality.
It's really their personality. I mean, I think Ace is a little more grumpy than Grayson, believe it or not, because for those who have read about Grayson, they'll know he's very grumpy. But I think Ace is even more so. He struggles to control his wolf. I think is a big plot point for him. He's a really powerful wolf that likes to take control a lot, especially when it comes to his mate. So, I eventually just realized that they were so similar that they had to be connected. I also just, so many people wanted it. They wanted more Kidnapped by My Mate. They wanted more Belle and Grayson. And I actually got to the point in Ace and Doe's story where Doe was in desperate need of advice. She's a human entering the werewolf world, doesn't know what's going on, feels kind of betrayed by everybody around her. And I was like, who else has felt this way? And I realized, oh my gosh, Belle would give such great advice right now. And I kind of was, I feel like it would be so fun if Belle popped in and was like, hey, I've been there, let's chat. So she kind of comes in as her knight in shining armor and helps Doe out. So
So there's a lot of similarities and between the four of them, I think.
Definitely, for sure.
So speaking of similarities, Dorothy and Ace both have complicated relationships with their fathers. Was this a conscious decision that you made for their character development, or did it just happen?
No. I think they actually both started out with really good relationships with their dads. And then slowly it just turned into something else. I don't know, and it's funny because both Belle and Grayson also have complicated relationships with their parents. Yeah. So I don't know what this trope is that I've created and keep coming back to, but and it in no way reflects my own relationship with my own father.
Yeah, cough.
Yeah, they have some serious daddy issues in these books. I don't know what's going on with them, but It's how it happened, I guess.
Yeah. And can you explain a little bit about the timeline? Where does the Alpha Stoll fit into the Kidnapped by My Mate universe?
Right, yes. That gets complicated. So the Alpha Stoll starts right at the beginning of his Lost Queen. So they take place at the same exact time. And that might have to do with the fact that I was writing them at the same exact time. But spoiler alert ahead, around the time when Belle runs away from Grayson at the end of Kidnapped by My Mate is when Ace and Doe's story starts. So you'll even hear like Ace talking about his cousin and being like, oh, he's struggling because the love of his life is missing. And so it's a little hint into that.
Really awesome. I love that. I mean, I think it's also, I'm a big fan of like interconnecting universes and like connecting characters and backstories. And, you know, I mean, obviously like Ace and Grayson are cousins. There's a really strong connection there, but it's just always so cool to see like, okay, what are writers coming up with? How are you connecting your characters? Because like these are people that you've created, right? And so it's just like, it's like fun little Easter eggs.
Definitely, yeah.
Are you planning to write any more about Doe and Ace or Belle and Grayson in the future?
Both of them are getting another book, actually, which I haven't officially announced. I think I've hinted at it here and there to my readers, but people who are listening are actually getting to hear this first. But there will be a sequel for the Alpha Stoll, and there's going to be a third Kidnapped by My Mate book too. I'm working on both right now. I'm actually almost done with the sequel to the Alpha Stoll, so that'll be out really soon, I'm hoping. Well, I shouldn't say really soon, because I don't actually know when. But I should give myself some time to edit and things. But yeah, I'm really excited for both these books, and for readers' reactions, honestly. I think people are going to flip out once they hear. So, and that's my favorite thing, is announcing things to my readers. I love it. So, I'm really excited to share that with everybody and keep going with this crazy universe I just started on a whim one night in my college dorm room. And have somehow made a living out of 4 years later. So, exciting stuff.
Yeah, we could not be more excited for you. I think it's going to be really great. I'm very pumped to see the reaction of all of your readers once the Alpha Stoll comes out. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us about this. We're all excited about this. Everyone in Inkit is like pumped and getting ready and counting down the days, and all of the readers, I'm sure, are doing that as well. It's been really great to chat with you, and everyone can check out the Alpha Stoll on Galatea on August 19th.
Yay, thank you so much.
Want access to hundreds of books and audiobooks? Head to Galatea.com or download the Galatea app to discover your next favorite story. Link in the description.